Hi, it's Maija here, and I recently decided to reorganize my TBR shelf, so the books that I'm most excited for are at the front. I like to do this every now and then when I notice that I don't feel like picking up books from my TBR shelf. I know it's just time to refresh it and change the order of the books so that the ones that I feel the most excited for at the moment are at the front. And I thought I'd just show you the shelf, and that is show you my most anticipated books on my TBR. So let's just move on to the shelf. So here we are with the books that I'm going to talk about. This shelf is my TBR shelf, and it is actually double stacked. So I put the ones that I'm most excited for on the first row, and then this shelf, on this shelf above it, the first row is also on my TBR books, and then the second row are books that I've read. So I chose from like 1.5 double stacked shelves, the ones that I am most excited for. And these are organized in alphabetical order by the title of the book, because you might remember that I'm doing the A to Z TBR challenge. So I thought that would be the most useful way of organizing these books. Even though I have read a lot of the letters, like from the start of the alphabet at least, I still decided to go and organize them by title. So it would be easier for me to find the ones that I haven't read. But let's start with the books. The first thing that I have here is Behind the Throne by K.B. Wagers. This is a science fiction book. It's the start of a trilogy called The Indran War, and I own the whole trilogy. I got this first one as a Secret Santa present from Thomas from SFF 180, and I'm really excited to get to it. I bought the rest of the books from sales on Book Depository, so I have the whole series, and I know that Winks from Winks and Ink really loves this series, so I'm looking forward to reading it. Then I have a Persephone book. This is The Blank Wall by Elizabeth Sanksay Holding, and it is a crime mystery book. I bought this from Persephone Books, the store, when I last visited London. Then I have The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. I think it was on my birthday in 2017. I got this as a gift, or I chose it for myself as a gift, and someone bought it for me, and I still haven't read it, and I still think that I would really like it, but here it still is. It is a historical fantasy set in Cairo. Also a book that I have at some point bought for myself as a birthday present. This is Creatures of Will and Timber by Molly Tanzer, and this is a sort of gothic historical fantasy. It's a retelling of Dorian Gray, with some people having the genders changed from the original, so there's like Dorian character is Dorina. Then I have The Signet and the Firebird by Patricia A. McKillip. This is the second book in the Signet duology. I have now read the first book from the library. It was called The Sorceress and the Signet. I really enjoyed that, so I think I will read this soon. It's a high fantasy book written in the lyrical style that McKillip writes in. Then I have The Fall of the Kings by Ellen Kushner and Delia Sherman. I still haven't read this. I love the Riverside books, the Riverside series. I have read A Sword's Point and The Privilege of the Sword, and this is fantasy of manners with no magic, so it's basically aristocrats and then swordsmen and plots and sword fights. And I really, really love it. Almost everyone in this world is bisexual, and I find that to be refreshing. Next we have a classic. This is E.M. Forster's Howard's End from the Penguin English Library editions. I have read Room with a View from E.M. Forster and Maurice, and I liked both of those. And I want to read this, and I want to watch the newest TV series adaptation that I think came out last year. Then we have Illuminae, the first in the Illuminae files, by Amy Kaufman and Jay Christoph. I won this from a giveaway from Libby Stevenson. She kindly sent it to me. It's also signed, so I hope I will love it. It's a science fiction book, a young adult book. I think most of you have seen it around on BookTube. Then I have The Lie Tree by Frances Hardinge. This is the illustrated edition, illustrated by Chris Riddell, who I really like. And this is a young adult or middle grade book. And it's sort of a darker fantasy book, I think with some gothic overtones, I'd like to think. I'm really interested in trying out Frances Hardinge's work. The next book is Melusine by Sarah Monette. This is the same author who has written The Goblin Emperor under the pen name Catherine Addison. And I love that book, but this is more of a dark fantasy. I've heard it's very dark, and this book is one of Reija from the Book Finch's favorites. Then there is Knight's Master by Tanith Lee. I have never read, I don't think, a book from Tanith Lee. I hesitated because I thought, have I read one in my teens? But no, I had seen it in the library, but I hadn't borrowed it because it looked like it might be too horror for me at that age that I saw it. But this is the book 1 from Tales from the Flat Earth, and this is also dark fantasy, so I am really looking forward to reading this one. I think these new covers that they have come out with from Daw of a lot of her works now are really beautiful. The cover art is by Bastien Lecouf de Harme. Then we have The Perilous God by Elizabeth Marie Pope, a Newbery Honor book. This is a fairy book. I had this on my February TBR, but I never got around to it. I think this is sort of middle grade or young adult again. It's an older book. It's a historical fantasy book with the Fae. Then you might wonder why we have Cordelia's Honor here in the alphabet, but it's because I have alphabetized it by the first book in this bind-up. This is a bind-up of 2 books, and the first of those is Shards of Honor. Shards of Honor is the first book in the inner chronological order in the science fiction series, the Miles Ford Costigan series, and I haven't read anything from Bujold before, but I've heard great things. Then we have Sparrow Hill Road by Sean Maguire. This is one of those books again that I bought for myself for my birthday. I bought this one because the second book in the series came out, The Girl in the Green Silk Gown, and that one sounded interesting. So I bought the first one, and this seems to be about urban myths. It's about one hitchhiking ghost girl, I think the people who see her, and different stories revolving around her. Then moving on to the teas, this is Two Like the Lightning by Ada Palmer. This is the first in the Terra Ignota series, which is sort of a philosophical science fiction series. I am really looking forward to this. I own the first 3 books in this series, and I still haven't even read the first one. She was the winner of the John W. Campbell Award the year I went to Worldcon when it was in Helsinki. I'm super into trying this series out. Then we have the second book in the Lady Trent series, The Tropic of Serpents. This is basically a historical fantasy, but it's set in a secondary world that's sort of reminiscent of our world in the Victorian times, and it's about a woman who studies dragons. And I really like the first book, A Natural History of Dragons, but I think in a way that I felt like the following books would be even better, so this is on my list. Then I have one that's really calling my name, this Under the Pendulum Sun by Jeanette Ng, and this is a novel of the Fae, so it's sort of Victorians with Fae. They have discovered Fairyland and they can visit there, and they actually sent missionaries there. And this girl is going to look for her brother. Jeanette Ng is nominated for a John W. Campbell Award in the next Worldcon in Dublin, where I'm going, and I would really like to read this before it. It has this gothic overtone that really makes me think that I could love it. So now we're nearing the end. I have The Victorian Chaise Longue by Margarita Lasky. This is another Persephone book. It's very, very short. This is a time travel story that was written in the 50s. About 2 women who lie on this same chaise longue. Then we have a Sofia Samatar book, The Winged Histories. I have read A Stranger in Olondria by Sofia Samatar, and I really loved that one. And then I have read her short story collection, Tender, and I liked a lot of stories from that. This is set in the same world as A Stranger in Olondria, and it follows 4 women at wartime. And finally, we have Word Puppets by Mary Robinette Kowal, which I bought years and years ago. It's a short story collection, and that's one of the reasons why I haven't picked it up, because I'm really bad at picking up short story collections. But this has the short story, The Lady Astronaut of Mars, which is set in the world that her novels, The Calculating Stars and the sequel to that, are set in, and I really want to read that before reading those novels. And this, I think, has a collection of fantasy and science fiction stories, and I really like this cover. So that was it. Those are my most anticipated TBR books currently. Let me know if you have read any of these, if you have any recommendations as to what you'd like to see me pick up first. That's all from me for now, and I'll see you in my next video.